They killed entire families, adults and children, and they tried to burn the bodies.
President Zelenskyy today presenting evidence to the world of those Russian atrocities in Bucha.
They cut off limbs, slashed their throats. Women were raped and killed in front of their children.
He provided the UN with a graphic video to rebut Russia's denials of war crimes, scolding the UN for not carrying out its stated mission of peace and security because of Russia's veto power at the Security Council.
This undermines the whole architecture of global security. It allows them to go unpunished.
Secretary Blinken on his way to Brussels, vowing to hold anyone who commits war crimes accountable, along with those who ordered them.
What we've seen in Bucha is not the random act of a rogue unit. It's a deliberate campaign to kill, to torture, to rape, to commit atrocities.
But stopping short of labeling it genocide, a crime that takes years to prove. Outrage over Bucha led most of Europe to expel more than 200 Russian diplomats. The U.S. and Europe are also tightening economic screws on the Kremlin. The White House is expected to ban all new investment in Russia and target Russian banks and state-owned enterprises. But there are big loopholes. The U.S. is holding off sanctioning China and India for buying Russian oil, money helping Putin fund his war. The EU is also still buying Russian oil and natural gas, on which Europe depends, though today it banned Russian coal. But U.S. officials concede sanctions won't stop Putin. As the chairman of the Joint Chiefs told Congress, he believes this conflict will last years.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.